many of us actually spend time with our grandmother? I remember as a kid, I used to spend a lot more time with our grandparents. It's just an example. We had time. Now suddenly we have less and less and less and less time. Grandparents far away. How many of us actually spend time with our parents in such long? It's changing. Of course, I cannot say that all of us have to leave what we do and we sit with parents or grandparents, but how many of us actually take time to go out in nature? I don't know, just by asking, how many of us actually, how many times, perhaps you do have, how many times do you actually go in nature?
Age-old practices that we had in India, be it Ayurveda, being a part of nature. Where have we lost it? Why is it that in the current urban situation, I always thought this was a part of our Indian culture, being in nature, eating healthily, eating before the sun sets. Suddenly, there is a complete Westernization, a dependency on Swiggy. There's a complete food habits change which is happening in the entire country, a drastic change. And we see children suddenly saying they've attained puberty when they are 8 years old and they're having bleeding for months. The whole system is going through an imbalance. What is the sudden change?
I don't have all the answers, that's for sure. I can only tell you what I understand. I don't know if it's the right answer or wrong answer, but what I understand, it's like you said, urbanization. Already, what does that mean? We are becoming urban beings. We're just like, for me, everything really starts with not being in touch with your own self. We can have consumerism, we can have a bombardment of American or Western, culture. We can have whatever we like me too, I grew up in this system. What is it that actually makes you and me think differently? Because we are somehow taking the time to be in touch with ourselves. And if each of us does that, to really start this awareness of each of us, because I cannot change 2,000 people, I can change myself. That's the truth. I can probably help my family. I do help my family because I help them understand. I can help people around me. That's my reach. Perhaps through social media, slightly more. Perhaps being a public figure, slightly more. But that's essentially where I can reach, but the change actually comes from me myself. So it sounds very pessimistic to say this, but to me it's human greed that started this whole thing of the idea of wanting more. So more from this much, more produced from like a small farm. So put the chemicals and put the pesticides to make a larger production, more money from my supermarkets, so make the preservatives stronger so the things last longer. More, it's all about that more, wanting more. This is my personal belief, that we shifted in our essential, I don't like to say it because maybe it's not true for all of us, but what I see around is that just wanting more and just stimulating our senses. Now if you see, we without stimulation of like telephone, iPad or anything, most human beings can't sit with themselves alone. We feel uncomfortable if you don't have the phone in the hand, something stimulating us. It's always like that, how do you say, wanting more. If you're able to just sit still and just be with yourself and, like we talk about India, right? Like you said, we have age-old practices. Like how many of us actually spend time with our grandmother? I remember as a kid, I used to spend a lot more time with our grandparents. It's just an example. We had time. Now suddenly we have less and less and less and less time, Grandparents far away. How many of us actually spend time with our parents in such long, It's changing. Of course, I cannot say that all of us have to leave what we do and we sit with parents or grandparents, but how many of us actually take time to go out in nature? I don't know, just by asking, how many of us actually, how many times, perhaps you do have, how many times do you actually go in nature? Or it's just that I believe we cannot change the world in overnight, but what we can do is slowly change ourselves and those help those around us. That's what I would say. And I'd like to hear your point of view. Actually, what do you think? Why do you think this is the issue?
I think it's our education system. We're emulating the West. We're forgetting our own roots. We're forgetting our own strengths. We are actually wiping out generations from Indian culture. And as you said, it's greed, it's the want of more, it's the Western description of success. Success is more, success is money. We have Ashtalakshmi. Lakshmi is not money for us in India. Lakshmi is Ashtalakshmi. I think the very concept, the Indian education system is a disaster, not just in the urban places, in the rural places. I'm shocked to say that in rural India today, people don't know how to grow leafy vegetables. People don't know how to put a seed, sow a seed. I am looking at the villages now in India. You have a lot of canals filled with plastics. Every small slum you go, every small village go, you see Coca-Colas and Kurkures. It's great to buy biscuits for your grandchildren or somebody you love. It's great to buy Kurkure. It's not about the chikki that is traditionally available, nuvu undalu, which is traditionally available. I mean, we are replacing our entire food habits.
I think awareness is key, like you said. It's about awareness, and education. Education, unfortunately, since the Britishers came, I think that changed the whole system, right? They changed our books, they changed our systems. Our traditional universities were dying down, and then it became all an English system. So yes, while it's going to take a long time to change that, but I think awareness can help, just start awareness.
That's what Wishwa is working on, to build awareness on these key topics. Yeah, we'll go to Shmuel.
Okay, thank you very much. Very interesting lecture. I want to ask if, according to your opinion, authorities and the community need to encourage organic methods of skincare.
So, traditionally, Indians use organic skincare. Traditionally, the Indian bath is with herbal powders. We have various concoctions. Some use senagapindi, which some what is the word that for the pulse? Some
use. Well, they call uptans, all
the different kinds of uptans. The different kinds of pulses are, and rice and green gram and all are mixed to have baths. Traditionally, in the olden families, in even today in families, even for babies, we use oil massages, and then we use these powders, herbal powders, to have baths. Now, this is great for the skin, great for in its place. The slum dwellers today think it's great to use a Lifebuoy soap, which is actually so rough on your body, so rough on you. But using that Lifebuoy soap, using that egg white shampoo, which is a disaster for the hair, is known as success. So Indians traditionally have great skincare. In fact, in spite of so many products that have come into the market, it still persists in almost every family. In every lady, at least once in a few years, they'll do a lot of conditioning of their hair with natural powders or leaves like moringa, like hibiscus, like neem, like egg white. So Indians traditionally have their skincare, and I can tell you, even the next generation who starts off saying, no, I will go to the parlor, have this treatment, that treatment done, at the end of the day, after 10 years, come back and say, Mom, I need my oil massage, my hair is falling off. So yeah, I think with respect to the government, yes, they have wiped out Ayurveda from the textbooks. The universities have been wiped out. It's only now, slowly, thanks to the tourism that comes in Kerala, that a few research institutions have been developed in Kerala, and the present government is working with institutions to have some curriculum. It's a huge and a rich knowledge system which has been suppressed over the last 200 years.
This said, you're recommending to all governments around the world to take example from India and to develop the different methods of organic skincare.
Absolutely. What ma'am has said, that skincare is sleep. Skincare is about nature therapy. Skincare is about the kind of intake you take, both internally and externally. This is very natural to India, very natural to our Ayurvedic system, very natural to our naturopathy centers. And this has to be formed as a base of curriculum across the world. In today, the world is copying yoga. The world needs to see the Indian Vedic system. Why are we using soaps, which are actually bad for your skin and also bad for your environment. I mean, it's 10 times more expensive than just using your herbal powder which you find in your kitchen. I think Westernization, the concept of success being money and more and more and more, has replaced living in harmony with the world. I think somewhere the education system across the world needs to take this from India, not just yoga, but what ma'am has already shared just now. That has to become a part of the curriculum. Very critical, very necessary in today's world, especially with cancers. Why should an 8-year-old girl go through a 2 months bleeding? Yeah, that's what I have to say. Does it answer your question, Shwen?
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So next question is, what is your nature ritual?
It's really depending on each person. There's no, like I said, there's no formula. We always try to look for one formula. What is he doing? What is she doing? You have to look inside. What do I want? That's the most important thing. I really emphasize on that. What do I need? Me personally, like I said, I do like going to the forest where it's not a park. I do like going into more natural ecosystems where it's not being too touched by human beings, because that's their natural intelligence still exists there. So that's my personal favorite, but each one has their own.
So when you say natural intelligence, you mean to say the local trees, the local birds,
Yes.
the local insects?
The biodiversity, yes.
Biodiversity.
Their intelligence, all of that ecosystem, Because when we make a park, when we make a garden, we are somehow still putting it according to our intelligence, right? We're putting I should put this seed here and that seed there. Whereas if you go into a wild park, nature has done that. So it's nature's intelligence, which is what we want to get in touch with.